All right, it is 7 o'clock. We are going to start the Crystal Council meeting at this time. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry, the roll call.
Councilmember Budaszewski.
Here.
Councilmember Deschler.
Here.
Councilmember Kaiser.
Here.
Councilmember LaRoche.
Here.
Councilmember Parsons is absent. Mayor Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Banks.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, I have an agenda here in front of me. I think you do as well. Looking for a motion on the agenda. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Brendan?
I second that motion.
All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next is our consent agenda. I will read that into the record at this time. Approval of the minutes for the following meetings. First, the work session on August 20th, 2020, and then the council and work session from September 1st, 2020. And approval of the list of license applications submitted by the city clerk to the city council. That list is on file in her office. Approval of a resolution accepting the following donations. We have $839.63 from donation boxes and mug t-shirt fundraiser for the Crystal Police K-9 unit. Thank you for everybody who takes advantage of those boxes. Approval of an extension for completion deadline for 5176 Louisiana North to September 15th, 2021. Looking for a motion on this?
I'll move to
Therese?
the consent agenda.
All right, looking for a second. Julie?
I'll second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Open forum. Chrissy, do we have anybody who's looking to speak during open forum?
I do not, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Anybody here wishing to speak during open forum? Seeing nobody, we will skip by open forum. This is a chance for citizens usually to approach us and speak to everybody on air and us for issues, so please don't forget that it exists and use it as you will. Regular agenda, the council will consider approval of disbursements of $25,000 or greater. I'll read that list into the record at this time. Health Partners, Inc. for September health insurance premiums, $111,485. The City of New Hope for Wind Park Drive reconstruction in water main for $108,507. And Tenvora Ford, Inc., I think that's pretty close, for a new squad car, $32,125. Wold Architects and Engineers for new public safety building project cost for $64,178. Pembroke Companies for West Broadway, payment number 1, $302,056. And Min-Para for employee contributions for paydate 9 for 2020, $61,099. Total disbursements, $25,000 or greater, is $679,452.11. So, any questions on any items here? Nancy?
Just a question on our insurance premiums. Do you get, or annually, do you do reviews and get bids from other insurance companies? I'm curious because today I found out my company is changing our insurance because we found a cheaper option which has the same coverage.
Kim?
Well, I'll answer.
Okay.
We are part of the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust, and so we all pool, we're sort of self-insured
nice.
through the league, so
Okay.
no. The
Okay, you
answer is
don't
no.
need to do that. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Any other items? Well, looking for a motion then. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to approve the expenditures over $25,000.
Thank you. Julie?
I'll second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Next, we are going to talk about the amending of Appendix 4. We have our city attorney, Troy Gilchrist, here to address the council and the public. and it's about tobacco. Welcome,
It is.
Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. You're exactly right, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution that's before you amending Appendix 4 of the Crystal City Code, which is your fee schedule. That's where, as a result of the recodification, we pulled all of the administrative penalties and fines out of your code and moved them to your fee schedule. And so what this is a further, kind of a second stage of the changes that you previously acted on with respect to the changes in state law on tobacco. As part of those state changes through the legislature, they increased the minimum penalties associated with tobacco violations. And the resolution reflects those minimums in the, again, the minimums, the way you have structured this, as a number of other cities have done, is you create for yourself a range of options for the imposition of penalties for a violation, ranging from the minimum up to a certain dollar amount, and then also identifying potentially a day or more of suspension related to the violations. And so your previous or your current minimums match what used to be in state law. The legislature went through and updated those and also extended the period of time in which the second and third violations, in which subsequent violations would count as a second or third violation. It was previously 2 years. The legislature moved that to 36 months for both of those series of violations. And so what your resolution before you does is try to create consistency in those other categories as far as those time periods, but then also moves the minimums up to match the state minimums. And we had a discussion about this in the work session, so I won't go into a lot of detail here, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
All right, thank you, Troy. Any questions from the council?
I mean, essentially, we're just updating our code to be in compliance with what the state mandates us to be in compliance with.
Mr. Mayor and council member, correct. The minimum penalties that are mandated by state law are being reflected in your fee schedule.
Correct. All right. Thank you. No further discussion on this item? All right, looking for a motion? Julie?
I'll make a motion. Just get my glasses on here.
I have mine on.
I'll make a motion amending the appendix for the City Crystal Code regarding administrative penalties for tobacco violations.
All right, thank you. John?
I second that motion.
Appreciate that. All right, all members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, we have our Financial Director, Jean McGann, here to address the council. We have some reimbursement discussions to have in reference to the CARES funds, so welcome, Jean.
Thank you. So this evening, we would like to ask the council to pass a resolution in regard to the CARES funding that the city did receive. Now, please, know that there are many, many changes happening almost daily on what the rules and regulations for the use of the CARES funding. So at this point in time, we do want to essentially have a game plan for what this funding will be used for. And so we've put together a preliminary budget, and we may come back to you and ask to modify, what this looks like as more information becomes available. So at this point in time, we do have, public health expenses allocated for about $71,000. There is an opportunity to allocate dollars for emergency paid leave if that would be necessary. However, we haven't allocated any dollars to that yet. For public safety personnel, we have almost $2 million allocated for that specific purpose. Now, please know there is some different information that was just released yesterday in regard to the ability to assist West Metro with their particular expenses related to COVID. Now, as more information becomes available, we will present that to you right away, and that's another reason why we may need to modify what these CARES funds are used for. In addition to that, we have $38,000 of technology costs, which would allow people to work remotely, and for additional equipment, things of that nature. Now, there's also an opportunity to allocate dollars for personnel that were performing a substantially different function. Now, we are going through that particular area and investigating that more thoroughly because there are quite a few which we will need to document as to what they were doing and, how their job became very different, or the additional responsibilities that they needed to pick up because of COVID. There's also, $10,000 allocated for administrative costs, and that, could be legal fees in, looking at, different ways that the dollars are going to be expended, things of that nature. Unemployment costs, we did have, some unemployment costs where we had individuals where they were not able to work due to, for instance, the community center being closed. And those were more of the part-time type individuals. Contractor payments and economic assistance are two other categories that we could fall into. There was a decision made that we were not going to be providing business grants and things of that nature, and so we have not allocated any funds to that at this point. But as I said, as more information becomes available, we will be bringing new information to you. We just want to make certain that we have the council's approval as we move forward and submit all of our different reports for these dollars that have been expended relative to the CARES funding.
All right. Questions for Gene on this? Julie?
So at the end of the year, if the dollars aren't allocated for a specific use that we thought maybe we would use them for, then the money is returned to either the county or the state?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then they disperse it how they see fit, or for their needs?
Yeah. Ann, you want to?
Actually, in Hennepin County, all the unspent dollars go back to the county for use by each CMC, the Hennepin County Medical Center.
Okay, okay. All right. But by voting on this, that we're at least covering our bases to capture any, labor costs or equipment costs that we spend on COVID.
Right, that is correct. It's essentially the plan for how the CARES dollars will be
Okay.
utilized.
All right, so we're not necessarily using it, but we're just putting a game plan together.
It's
And
kind
we're
of
gonna
like
use
a
lot of
budget.
it, but- Okay, all right.
Any
I'm
other-
okay with, I think that's a good approach.
Other questions? So on the West Metro Fire piece of it, I'm guessing the new information might be negative for us for being able to cover that?
That is correct. There was information from the OIG and the MMB that came out, which was essentially disallowing it, and specifically with the joint powers agreements and things of that nature. So there also, we have a message into the League of Minnesota Cities Research Group asking for additional information. And so I suspect that there could potentially be new interpretations as to how that, what is allowed and what's disallowed. So, like I said, so it's continually changing. We continue to monitor it, and we're getting new information every day.
Okay. I don't know, first blush, it seems ridiculous, but
We used a different word earlier today.
did you know? I'm glad you used different words. Is there some type of appeal process that you've seen starting to form through the CARES funds where we may be able to do something like that?
There is a lot, many discussions happening right now, and we have already seen rules essentially that have changed, but then they have modified again after they changed. So it's a little bit in flux right now.
Okay. So that makes sense as to the approach we're taking. We're not making any definitive statements, but yet we're using different words elsewhere. All right, thank you for that. Any other questions for Gene on this topic? All right. Looking for a motion on this. John?
Make a motion approving a resolution allocating coronavirus aid, relief, and economic security for the CARES Act funds.
All right, Nancy?
I'll second.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Mark Ray is here. He's our Public Works Director. We're going to talk about assessment rolls.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse me. The item before you tonight is related to the optional private work that was included as part of the 2020 utility reconstruction project. The residents in the area had the opportunity to have some private, basically their sanitary sewer lined from the end of the project up to their house. There were 65 projects in the project area, 10 of those homes, so 15% participated in the program. Interestingly enough, I did go back and look historically, and that always seems to be about the percentage, that 15 plus or minus 3% that participate in programs like this. The total private work assessed is $52,250. That's $5,225 per property. That was a flat fee. And again, this was a completely voluntary program. Next slide, Matt. So the item tonight before you is declare the total amount to be assessed with the total amount of $52,250 and then the per property cost. Order the preparation of the assessment rolls and then call for the assessment hearing, which will be October 6th, 2020. Next slide. So that's the motion. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. Questions? Go ahead, Brendan.
All right. So just to be clear, it's an assessment, but it was a voluntary program.
So actually, that's a really good question. It's a voluntary thing. Residents could actually pay this off before, and it wouldn't even go on their taxes if they so chose. So really, this is a financing mechanism that's an option to residents who participated in this completely voluntary program. What's the controlling factor for us is we have to get notification to the county so many days before, and so that's why it's starting now, kind of the clock is starting. So if you approve this, then they'll get a notification of the assessment hearing. They'll also provide information on payment, and then should they choose not to or to have it assessed, then that clock will really start at the end of November, I believe.
End of November is which date?
I want to say it's the 20-something of.
No, for what?
For when it's put on their actual taxes for payment starting in 2021.
Okay, man, I thought that was December. Okay. So it's actually November.
The deadline to pay is November something for no interest to be
Late
accrued, I believe.
It is, okay.
Yep.
Let's just make sure we communicate that well. In our
Yeah, it's the
correspondence.
same spiel we've
Yep.
done for
Yep.
decades.
I know,
Yeah,
it's been a while.
yeah, that's
So
fair enough.
It's just, want to make sure we're covering it. All right. Any questions for Mark? All right. Looking for a motion on this one. Nancy?
I will make a motion to approve declaring amount to be assessed, ordering preparation of assessment roll, and setting date for public hearing for the 2020 utility reconstruction private sanitary sewer services repairs. That's a lot of
Very
big
good.
words there, but
Looking for a second? John?
So moved.
All members in favor, please say aye.
aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
That's why we let you make the motion, Nancy.
Practicing my syllables.
Yeah. If there's anybody we trust, it's going to be Nancy with long words. I'll do the long numbers, you do the long words. All right, John Sutter is here. He's our Community Development Director. He's here to talk to us about the Blue Line Extension Alignment.
All right, thank you, Mayor Adams, council members. I will take this off.
Thank you.
So we talked about this last week, so I won't get into too much of the detail, but for the members of the public, you may have heard in the media that Metro Transit and Hennepin County have determined that they are not going to pursue negotiations with BNSF Railway for 8 miles of the roughly 13-mile Blue Line extension. I've highlighted on the screen in yellow, that is the 8-mile segment that was to run in the BNSF corridor. So they are going to start exploring alternatives to that 8-mile segment, alternate alignments. And Metro Transit has a statement of principles that they have laid out to kind of guide the discussions and evaluation of potential alternative alignments. Before you tonight is approval of a statement of Crystal's principles that will guide your staff, us, in our discussions and our work collaborating with our adjacent cities, the county and Metro Transit, on evaluating alternate alignments. This all said, it does not mean that if BNSF has a change of heart, that the line couldn't end up back in that corridor. But as of right now, the focus seems to be on exploring alternate alignments. So there are mainly three things that we added to the Metro Transit Statement of Principles. One of them has to do with recognizing the city's investment in the town center area, specifically the Bass Lake Road Streetscape and Becker Park, and trying to keep a station in that area to complement the city's investments. And then the other two items are basically the same thing. They are statements referring to the strong community support for a pedestrian grade separation, a pedestrian bridge across Bottineau Boulevard at Bass Lake Road to ensure safe access to the platform wherever it's going to be in that area because of the high traffic volume and width of Bottineau Boulevard and the need to serve the northeastern part of the city. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and we would just ask for a simple motion to approve the statement of principles.
Thank you, John. Any questions for John? All right. Thank you for doing that work. It sends a clear message to, I guess, between the council and you guys, staff, but it also tells the public where we're at, so thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And should we tell them about our little meeting today?
Sure. We had a meeting with the governor. Julie was on it, I was on it, amongst a whole bunch of other people along the line, county commissioners, some legislators.
Charlie, Met Council Chair.
Mark, yep.
So they're very clear, they're very committed that this will be a light rail line of some sort. There won't be any alternative. They're not talking about bus, they're not talking about, anything else. Might not follow the exact precise path that they've been planning, but they are committed to finishing this particular, piece of the puzzle of the transportation plan as light rail.
And it was interesting because we really hadn't talked about it as a group as to that being an issue. That kind of came up today just amongst, current articles in the paper. And so that became a large topic of conversation today. But, the real thing I think that was trying to be accomplished was to make sure that the governor was on board with what we were trying to do within the line. And I think they got what they were looking for in terms of hearing a very clear statement that the governor is in support of a light rail line in this blue line. So that was stated very clearly by the governor. And of course, there was a ton of discussion as to other types of transit and how that was not desired by both the Blue Line Now Commission and, is that the right name, Julie?
What,
The group that was,
there's a Blue Line Commission, and
Blue
then
Line
there's
Now
a Blue Line
Commission.
Connect Now, and then there was a neighborhood group.
yeah.
It was, the meeting had all the players in each community attending that meeting today, so.
I'm not quite sure if it was the full CMC.
No,
I'm not, it was,
Today?
Yeah, it was very close to it. It was very close to
oh,
it. So I think, anybody who was, trying to have a voice, I think they were there today.
yeah,
So that was good.
it was a good meeting.
All right. So before us, we have our statement of principles. Looking for a motion on this. Brendan?
Make a motion to approve the statement of principles for the Blue Line extension alignment.
Okay, looking for a second. Julie?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. That is the end of our regular agenda. A couple announcements. Absentee voting starts September 18th, City Hall at 8 a.m., 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. Reminder that most reliable way to make sure your vote counts is by going to the polls for doing early voting here at City Hall. That's probably if you're worried about that, that's your best bet. Next council meeting is October 6th at 7 PM here at the City Chambers at City Hall. And reminder that our work sessions are recorded, our council meetings are recorded. They are available online on our website, .gov. I do that way too often, crystalmn.gov. Any other announcements?
I just have a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on the voting in person at City Hall, it's Monday through Friday, unless there's some kind of a holiday or something,
Correct.
8 to say 4.
Normal business hours, starting the 18th, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. We have extended hours on Saturday, October 31st, from
Okay.
10 to 3.
From what time?
10 to 3,
10 to 3. So that's the only Saturday you're going to be open. 10
correct.
to 3 is essentially Halloween.
Yes.
Okay.
And then also,
funny.
Councilmember Deschler, we're open until 5 on November 2nd.
Well, if we just tell them 4:30, then that'll cover it. You don't want them sliding in at 1 minute to 5.
We would be happy to help them.
Would you? I wouldn't like,
The
I
line's
hate
not-
that when I was
I'm
working.
guessing the line's not gonna be that long.
And then, the other thing is there's been questions, on some of the social media sites about drop boxes. And I know that you did some research and the surrounding communities do not have drop boxes. You know, kind of like people want to come up, they want to drop it in a box like they do their utility bill. Why is that not allowed? Is it because it's not secure enough? Like, say, maybe somebody could, I'm trying to figure out what I can say or what answer I can give some of these people to say, it's not that we don't want a drop box for you, it's that we can't because it doesn't meet certain parameters. But I don't know what those parameters are. Do you know?
Yes, Councilmember Deschler. The drop boxes would need to be staffed.
24/7? If it was
To
outside?
accept ballots, they would need to be staffed, and we do not have enough staff.
Why is that?
Because we haven't raised the budget enough to hire staff 24/7.
No, but why do they need to be staffed? I mean, people are, I know how to get out of my car and drop the envelope in a box. Do I need to have somebody there to watch me do it?
It's for security
It is for
purposes.
security, that's what I was trying to get at. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other announcements? Nancy, you had something.
Yeah, John Elholm isn't here from our Parks and Rec Department, but I wanted to let our neighbors know that there is a citywide garage sale happening this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's the first one.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, that's
Correct.
pretty cool. And there's a map, you can see where they're all at, if you go to the Crystal Park and Rec website or our city website, but it's been promoted on social media as well. It's from September 17th to 19th, 9 AM to 5. You can get a map online, but I just want to promote that. I think that'll be
Yeah,
cool.
very good,
Yeah.
very good.
People are excited about that.
Busy weekend.
Yes. Definitely.
All right, anybody else? With that, looking for a motion to adjourn. Nancy?
Oh, I beat John. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second, John?
So moved.
Wah, wah.
All members in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, thank you, everyone, and we will see you next month.
Yeah, crazy.